Hello everyone and welcome back, the idol Yeesh. You thought you could get away from me, but you ain't getting away from me. Don't think I forgot about you. Some people tore it apart when it came out, and then it's just kind of slipped through the cracks. No, not with me. I ain't letting you get past me. Full spoilers, I'm going to talk about whatever the hell I want to, because this show is not worthy of any of your time. I want my 5 hours back. Where do I start with this? I think I'm going to start with my thoughts and opinions on The Weeknd himself. Outside of this show, beforehand, my expectations for this, because I love the music. 100%, from House of Balloons to Dawn FM, almost all of it I really liked. So being a big fan, I wanted this to be good. I was excited for this, and I had certain expectations for what this show should be and should look like. Because I feel, unlike a lot of people, that I actually understand the appeal of The Weeknd, because on the surface, it's just giant pop songs and he's on your radio flat out. But the subtext underneath all that, I understand The Weeknd as a character who Abel is representing is not a good person. You only have to go back and read the lyrics of songs like Wicked Games to really understand who this person is supposed to be. And the truth is that he's not a good guy. He is the darker side of life. The song Can't Feel My Face won a Kids' Choice Award, but the song is all about doing cocaine. It's just covered in this glittery pop R&B. So the point being that I like The Weeknd, and in understanding what The Weeknd is, I was ready for a darker, edgier kind of tone. I was prepared for a show that's like, we're not your normal show, we're edgy. Here's the dark side of being a pop star, and this marriage between Sam Levinson and Abel Tesfaye should be a match made in heaven. Sam Levinson is the guy responsible for Euphoria, which I haven't seen, but from all the ladies I know, apparently it is the bomb. They seem to enjoy the hell out of it. It was pretty big for a while, and so bringing him to Abel's dark side of a pop star, it just should have worked. On paper, this is a good idea, but my god, did it fall apart. Holy shit. One of the biggest problems with this show is how unfocused it is. It had a different director attached to it initially, who made the show much more about Jocelyn, Lily Rose Depp's character in the show. And then Abel wanted a bit more of Tedros and creative control. Then Sam Levinson came into it and it had to switch up. There was supposed to be 6 episodes, but then it was like, fuck it, it's getting bad reception, let's just cut 5 and 6 together and make it episode 5. It's got that kind of mess written all over it. And with that alone, it's a weak TV show structurally to just invest yourself in, when the most basic fundamentals of your show are a mess. But it gets way worse. Somehow, after hours of watching, pun intended, hours of watching this, I felt like I only ever watched grass grow. It felt like nothing happened. Nothing was learned, nothing really changed. It really lacks the self-awareness to be much or say anything. Because at the start, it's kind of satire, but then it slowly becomes the thing that it's satirizing. So since there's no real substance or even subtext to what it's trying to say, let's just talk about some of the stuff that's surface level. Some of the stuff that's so bad that should just deter you from this turd immediately to save you 5 hours of your life, if you haven't unfortunately wasted them like I did already. From the very beginning, the opening of this show, they have a photo shoot around Jocelyn's character, and she's got a hospital wristband on, and they are trying to make the argument that mental illness is sexy. Anybody that's trying to push this message in any form of media or literature is just fucking wrong. It feels like they're trying to make an actual case, an argument for these things. And that's the problem with it. It's not funny at all, and I don't think it's meant to be laughed at. There's a conversation in this show later on where, after Jocelyn's character has met The Weeknd, Abel Tesfaye's character Tedros, that is his name. After they've met, she wants to meet up with him again, invite him over, and while she's having this discussion with her friend at their house, they have a conversation that goes a little something like this. Oh, not that Tedros guy. He's so rapey. Yeah, but I kind of like that about him. What the f- So you guys know I like The Weeknd now, so it pains me to say that his acting is not good here. It's just not. I felt like some people were saying it out of the fact that they haven't seen Abel in general talk much. Like, he actively avoids a lot of press and interviews and stuff like that, and just releases his music as is. I myself even remember being surprised hearing his voice for the first time and how high of a pitch it was, which makes sense to achieve the types of notes that he gets. So I thought a lot of the claims of, oh, he's really bad acting, was them not being used to what this guy is like, but no, it's not good. Which, as much as I like him, and I want to give him a pass on it because it's his like first acting thing. I mean, look, even then, you've got the After Hours short film, and in that, he shows that he's able to act. He's channeling real pain in that. So I don't know what the hell even happened here. But the reason I am definitely not giving this a pass is because of how self-indulgent this show becomes at times. Because a large portion of the soundtrack of this show is done by The Weeknd, and you can hear him in it. So when you're watching Abel portray Tedros, who's not a singer at all, in all these scenes, trying to act and act poorly, while you can hear The Weeknd singing over the top, it really rips you out of the moment. This show also has some of the most longest, drawn out, poorly done sex scenes I have ever seen. I was so uncomfortable, but we did get this gem.
Fucking stretch that tiny little pussy.
That part killed me. Now, before I get into my second portion of ripping this show apart, I should try to talk about some positives. Is there anything redeemable in this show? The cinematography is good. Sometimes it can be amazing depending on what sequence they're doing. Whoever was behind the camera or the director of photography really understood what the hell they were doing. Lily Rose Depp as Jocelyn has some good moments, especially in episode 2 when she's trying to shoot a music video and keeps breaking down and trying to reshoot the video and trying to reshoot the video. That was one of very, very few solid moments in the show. And of course, Tedros' sex tour. That's also great. So if this show was so bad, why did I keep watching? It was like watching a car crash. And it just kept getting worse. And I kind of wanted to see just how bad it would get. Is there anything redeemable? Can you 180 this at the last second? No. And now I'm going to talk about the things that broke me. These were the things that were so bad that I could not possibly endorse this or recommend this show to anyone. I don't think anybody should see this because it is honestly humiliating that this has been written and greenlit and put in a TV show. It went through several phases to get to where it is now, to where I'm going to tell you what the hell happened. So Tedros runs like a cult and they move into Jocelyn's house throughout the show. And they talk about how you can't say no because then you're denying yourself an experience. This show tries to legitimately argue that Led Zeppelin's lead singer, Robert Plant's son, dying at the age of 5 was a good thing because then it led to him writing a great song. This is not fiction. This is a real person and this really happened. They're not saying, oh, Whitney Spears did this and this and this as like some loose reference to Britney Spears. They're actually using people's real names. Now Jocelyn tries to rebuttal this and she's messed up. I rarely agree with her ever, but she says, don't you think he would rather have his son than a great song? To which one of the cult members replies with, and I quote, then that'd be a pretty big loss for the world. What the fuck? The show's disrespect and disregard towards these actual things that happen to real people means that I should show this show no mercy. Wow, that was pretty bad. No, it gets worse. It actually gets worse. There's this subplot around Jocelyn struggling with trauma from her past because her mother used to beat her with a hairbrush all the time, constantly, to keep her in perfect form and in shape and to be this young singer that she ended up becoming. Also, the show tries to argue that this victim's abuse was the reason why everything became what it became. So Tedros does the only sensible thing you should ever do with someone that's been physically abused. Ask why the abuser abused them. And then ask the next bright question. Why didn't you fight back? It might not seem like a huge thing, the way I'm describing it, but this is like a huge dinner table of like 15 people and everyone's just in silence listening to these two go back and forth. How hard did she hit you? Yeah, things not to say to someone that has been physically abused. So you miss it. Yeah, that's said. Do you think it was worth it though? And she responds, yes. Get the hairbrush. And so that beautiful episode ends with The Weeknd recreating her childhood trauma and abusing her while we hear The Weeknd's music playing over the top of it with Abel singing. And at the very end, the cherry on top of the icing that's on this shit fucking turd of a cake, she thanks him for it. Thanks for recreating the the physical abuse that I received as a child, because now I'm going to be a great singer. Now, this is all in the first half of the show. It just keeps going. It's rubbish. Need I say any more to convince you that this is absolute garbage? I usually wouldn't trash something so hard because I have a fundamental understanding that with anything, any project, no matter how big or small it is, a lot of people have worked on it and spent a lot of time making it. And some people that were making it really just tried their absolute best. Like the director of photography, your cinematographer that made this look good, they didn't get a choice in how this was written or what it was supposed to be. They're just trying to do their job and trying their best. For me, The Idol is going to get a 1 out of 10. One of my lowest. I've only ever given one out of 10 before, and that was for the Requin, but this might have topped how bad that was. And it gets its 1 point for the fact that, yes, there's a couple of scenes where Lily Rose Depp does a good job, and that the cinematography is done and shot well. That's it. Everything else, no, I do not want a season 2. But the show falls completely apart. Towards the very end, they're just filming in the SoFi Stadium just before the Weeknd's actual concert. You can see all the things set up from the actual show there, which was a great concert. But man, from what I've seen, this has taken a huge swing at the Weeknd and his reputation because people aren't looking at it the same way or listening to it the same way as they usually would before. I know me, even as a die-hard fan, I had to have a break from listening to the Weeknd's music for a little bit. Still in love with the music, but this show and what it was trying to be is horrendous. So The Idol, have you wasted 5 hours of your life? Is there some other parts I missed down below that you'd like to hear me thoughts on? I'll try and get back to you. If you haven't already and you're still here and you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I talk about all sorts of stuff on this channel. There'll be more bad TV shows to come. I got another one I'm talking about right after this one. There is a goal. If we reach 1,000 subscribers, I will be talking about every single movie, game on this shelf. I will be pulling it all apart. So there's some incentive. There's a goal for you. If you've made it to the end of the video, you're a bloody legend, and hopefully I can catch you next time when I'm talking about a show that's only slightly marginally better than this one. Bye, guys.